Work is progressing slowly but surely on the massive D-Day Museum in the Warehouse District, a dream of Stephen Ambrose for many years.
Well, it is going to be very big, and it is the only museum, not only in the United States, but in the whole world, that is going to cover all of the D-Days. In Normandy, obviously, but also North Africa and Sicily and Italy and all the ones in the Pacific, because in every invasion of World War II, the men who carried out the invasion rowed to the beach in boats built in New Orleans by Andrew Higgins. He built 20,000 of the landing craft vehicle personnel, the one that you see at the opening of Saving Private Ryan, and he shipped them out all over the world, and they're the ones that were used. That's why Dwight Eisenhower said to me the first time I ever met him in 1964, did you know Andrew Higgins? He said to me. I said, no, sir, Mr. Higgins died the year before I came to New Orleans. He died in 1959. And I said, that's too bad. He's the man who won the war for us. And I went, I mean, such a strong statement from such a source. And he saw my face and he said, no, he was the man who won the war for us. If he hadn't developed and then built those Higgins boats, as they called them, we never could have gone in over an open beach. It would have changed the whole strategy of the war.
And you don't realize how many were built here in New Orleans.
20,000 of them. Also LSTs. Also Higgins had a role in building components for the atomic bomb. I mean, the guy was a genius plus.
So in your opinion, it's a no-brainer, especially with your work in looking back at World War II.
When Eisenhower said that to me, I came back to New Orleans. I was teaching at LSUNO, as it was called at that time, determined to build something in New Orleans to honor this guy. I mean, there's not a street named after him in this whole city. There's not a building named after him. And so that's where the idea of at that time, I thought of a museum to honor Higgins for Normandy, but now it's for the whole of the Second World War.
And the museum to honor the generation he says saved Western civilization will be a monument to the parents of baby boomers and grandparents of Generation X. Those who fought, died, and lived through World War II, and Ambrose sees some similarities in the war America now finds itself in Yugoslavia, and the battles there in World War II.
Well, Hitler tried to conquer Yugoslavia in World War II. He put a very big effort into it, a number of his best divisions, some of his best generals, and they all came a cropper in Yugoslavia. Tito was able to get the Yugoslavs together, not necessarily as communists, and certainly not around religion, because the Croats were then fighting the Serbs, and they were all fighting the Albanians, and then they were all fighting the Germans. It was just awful in what was Yugoslavia, just the worst casualties of any place in World War II, worse even than in the Soviet Union.
And it was such a pleasure to talk to Stephen Ambrose. And unfortunately, Stephen died in 2002, but he never got to see, this dream. I don't think he could have ever dreamed it had become this big.
I can't imagine. And they're saying, that this pavilion, when we talked with Peter Crean, the VP of Education and Access, that the focus of this one is really on what it means today. And can you imagine when you were doing that interview with him and picturing this, if he could see this today? I mean, he had it in his mind, and now here it is.
And I'm glad, because the D-Day Museum was very important to highlight what Andrew Higgins had done, but to show what the greatest generation did in winning World War II is a monument to America.